Okay, interesting. Interesting. Is this working now? Is this thing on? Thank you, Rudy. Oh my goodness, that's too funny. Too funny. Marie, you were supposed to yell at me all in caps about that when I do that. Asana's here, Rich, Marie, Rudy, Mort, Gunner, 400, Flubidus, Blaze, Jan, Amnon. Hassan says no audio. Jan says your audio. Okay, very good. Better now. There we go. So yeah, I was just fussing about the chat. This is the YouTube chat coming in through vMix Social. So it's got your picture and whatever icons or emojis you might be using, but it doesn't tell me who's here that's not chatting. Kirk's here, Daniel's here. So the only way, hey Cliff, the only way, Your Highness, the only way we know that anybody's here is if you chat. So it's just one of those things. Troy's here. Hey Troy, what's on the checklist for today? Well, apparently turning on the audio was not on the checklist. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Marie. And Clint's here. Hey Clint, Clint's up in Kentucky. And Personal Enhancement Pro is here. Welcome. Glad to have you guys. Let's see. How are we doing on time? We got 39 seconds until the show starts, but it might be a tad. Amnon said, you mean microphones have switches? Well, the ones I use. Yeah, and you forget to turn them back on too. Gee whiz. John is here. And, oh, Ken is Flubidust. Thank you. All right, there you go. Cliff says, I'm a regular idiot. I'm not even a special kind of idiot. I'm just your generic kind of garden variety idiot. Well, I agree with that. I agree with that. Hey, I am so excited. I just found out this morning that Magewell is going to be, I had hoped this to be true, but just found out for sure that Magewell is going to be one of our sponsors of the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB coming up in April 9th. And they're going to be giving away a Magewell Pro Convert HDMI Plus. Not the one we're talking about today. It's its little brother, but still, it's a $500 value, and it's going to be absolutely a great gift for somebody. I wish I could win it, but I can't. Although I do have the Pro Convert HDMI 4K Plus here that, you saw the picture of the backpack. I think I'm just going to slip it in my backpack and tell them I lost it. No, and we're going to use it. We're actually using it for the show today. Mel from West Tennessee, thank you. Glad to have you. And Blaze says, glad to hear you again. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Subtle as a brick, he is. Yeah. But, so we'll talk some more about that. And we're using it with the Ada UHD 100. In fact, Flubidust, Ken Benedict, just received a Pro Convert HDMI 4K Plus yesterday, and an Ada UMC 100 UHD, UHD 100, the 4K camera. So the same setup that we're going to be using for the stream today. I point over there because that's where the camera is. The same setup we're going to be using for the stream today will be the setup that Ken just got, and so we'll be interested to hear from Ken how it does, especially regions of interest with the 4K camera. And the fact that it's, that it's NDI, full NDI, means that you're going to get, full 4K image with very little degradation. So there we go. Rich says, woohoo, Magewell sponsor. Can we have an omelet station at the booth? Well, look, dude, I was working with Tess at PTZ Optics last week on refreshments for this thing, and the convention center wants $7 for shrimp. That's not for a plate of shrimp. That's for one shrimp. So, Rich, you can have one shrimp. That's it, dude. No, we'll figure out a way. We'll figure, and thank you to Magewell, because they are going to help sponsor at least 2 shrimp. I wrote them a letter and I said, the prices are just horrendous. Would you mind just stuffing your pockets with some stuff before you come to the meetup? That way you can share it with everybody else. Oh golly, too funny, too funny. Interesting that this setup right here, and we'll get to the show in just a second, I promise. This setup right here is the YouTube chat coming from vMix Social. And so I took the vMix Social URL, which is an IP address here with a :8089 added to it. And I made it as a web browser input in vMix. And when it asked me what resolution I wanted, I started out with 1920 by 1080, and the text was real small. And so I said, well, what about 1280 by 720? So I did that, and the text got bigger. Wasn't the resolution quite as clear, and so I played around it, and I did 640 by 360, and it was way big and highly pixelated. And I think I settled in. What did I settle in on? Let's see what it is here, because it really was kind of interesting. I settled in on 702 by 600. And then, of course, in vMix, I had to jockey it around a little bit to get it to sit here. And basically, I do it because I'm using it as an input. Let me rephrase that. On my big screen over here, the 55-inch that I'm using with multi-view on it, I've got a button on my X keys. There's a little pink button right here, right there, that puts the chat into preview, so I can see it from my seat across the room. And so it was interesting to try to get a size that was seeable across the room, and but yet at the same time wasn't so highly pixelated. So I'm actually looking at it on a 24-inch monitor here, and all of your comments take up the full line. But when it gets here, it reformats. And so Rich's comment, which is just one line for me, is three lines up here, which I think is really neat. And let's see what it is in. Yeah, and it's 3 lines up there too. So this has some possibility. I was having a little trouble getting the Facebook comments to come in this morning. vMix Social and Facebook were having a little tussle. So I just said, you guys fight it out later. I've got other things to do. So that was part of the fun stuff this morning. One other thing, because I hope to mention this later, and I may not, but if you're coming to the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB, you'll need to get a special pass for the meetup. This is not my rule. This is the convention center rule. So you'll have your regular pass. I should bring one with me as a sample. You'll have your regular pass to get into the hall during the day, because you'll have to get into the hall in order to get the pass. So I'll be putting up a graphic that looks like this, right over me. And remember to either freeze frame it there or real quickly write down these numbers or go back later and watch it, because those numbers will get you a pass into the show. Now, I think the free pass expires soon if it hasn't already. And those numbers will get you a discount once the free pass has finally here. Scott's here. Very good. Glad to have him. So you'll have to get a regular pass to get into the show, which we hope you'll do. And then you can, when you're at the show, you can pick up a pass for the Streaming Idiots meetup from me at the vMix booth, or from the folks at the Magewell booth. I'm going to put some at the PI Engineering, the X-Keys booth, and there'll be some at the PTZ Optics booth. So you'll need to visit one of those booths on Monday or Tuesday to pick up your pass for the Streaming Idiots. Yeah, it is getting complicated, but hey, John. But it is what it is. It is what it is. In order to use the convention center facility, we have to jump through some hoops. I mean, we have to hire a security guard. They heard Amnon might be coming, so they said, "Oh, we have to get a security guard." And in order for us to have more than 99 people, we have to have a security guard. So there we go. Yeah, it is unions, Amnon. I think the meetup's going to be maybe 2 or 3 hours, but we have to get the security guard for 4 hours because there's a 4-hour minimum. Anyway, it will be fun. Who do we have to bribe? Well, that is a question, Rich. That is a question. I mean, it is Las Vegas. It's all about the Benjamins, so, or whatever the currency is in your country. There, Scott's back. He has changed to himself in those sunglasses. All right, well, let's see if we can't get a show going here. And boy, I hope everything works. I had a chance to set things up and test one time, and I would like to have tested 2 times. But we'll just we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how it goes. One note here. That's that out. Yeah. Oh, Rudy's coming to a country near you soon. As Amnon called me. I did turn it on silent a few minutes ago. Actually, I'm going to use the phone over at the on the set to monitor the chat. I noticed Tim doing that on a tablet. I meant to bring a tablet today, but I forgot. So this is kind of a new thing for me. Jan says that you can bribe him anytime. He will do that. Yeah, testing is for idiots. Yeah, testing is better done in a real life situation. And what can be more real life than real life? You think? Love that lemonade. Don't forget that when you come to the Streaming Idiots meetup, you will get a limited edition Streaming Idiots koozie. So we'll be doing those again this year. Hey, Jim. And we'll have the sponsors on them again this year too. So there we go. All right, so let's do a show. Let's us all do a show together, shall we? It's going to be fun, and we'll see if it works. See if it works. One more caveat before we start this show, in case everything bombs. I love vMix 22. Let me just preface it by saying that. I think it's super. I think the animated titles are going to be a huge hit. They already are. I think the virtual PTZ control is going to be a huge hit. I think there's some other things in there that are going to be really great too. But there appears to be now I can't take Crystal Light because it's got aspartame in it. And aspartame makes my head go dead. I was drinking a bunch of Crystal Light years ago and kept wondering why I'm walking around in a fog, and somebody finally told me that some people, the sweetener in Crystal Light is something called aspartame. So apparently I had a reaction to it. So can't do Crystal Light. Have to do real sugar. It's just regular lemonade, Jan, I promise. There's nothing special about it. Well, that's not strictly true. That's not strictly true. My wife's not here, and she's probably not watching, or probably will never watch, but I'll tell you the secret. We get it in the big tubs. It's Country Time lemonade. Comes with a scoop, and 4 scoops makes a gallon. But 5 scoops makes a really good gallon. So that's my secret. That's the secret of my lemonade. It's slightly over-flavored to give it that tart, sweet tang rush. There you go. All right, so I was going somewhere before I did that, and I didn't get back. Oh, I know. We were talking about vMix 22. So vMix 22, lots of good things, but there's I think, now don't quote me until you check this, and I'm going to ask Tim and Martin at some point, but I think there's been sort of a major change under the hood, if you know what I mean, under the bonnet. you know, vMix 22 has got, you know, double turbochargers or something like that. And part of that is that the graphics, especially the animated graphics, are being loaded into the RAM that's on the graphics card. So if ever an NVIDIA graphics card was important, it's now more important than ever. If ever RAM on a NVIDIA capture card was important, the amount of RAM, it's never been more important. I have got oh, Tommy, you're just get your mind out of the gutter. Yeah, I would believe it's been causing cancer too. It certainly gave me brain freeze. I've got on this system right here that we're doing the production on, I've got a 750 GTX 750 NVIDIA card with 1 gigabyte of RAM, and I'm looking down here at the CPU memory, and it's 100%, which means I don't have any headroom other than what might be offloaded somewhere else, if the case may be. But as a result, some graphics run pretty not smoothly. Let's see if we can get this one to do. Actually, you know, it did okay. It wasn't as smooth in the reveal as it could be, I think. But part of that is because the RAM is full on that little teeny card. So I'm gonna be forced. Yes, Marie, the show was supposed to start 15.2 minutes ago, 14 minutes ago. But Jim says his GPU is running at 98% last summer. And so I'm gonna have to get an upgrade of a card. That's all there is to it. I know that Tim at vMix is doing a review of the NVIDIA GTX 1660. And so I'm interested to see how that one is. 400 says he's got 8 gigs of RAM on board. I think that's going to be more like it, and that's going to allow you to do really, really super smooth graphics. And even some of the standard graphics, well, not standard, but the graphics that come with vMix that are animated may suffer if you have a lot of them, number one, and you have a low amount of RAM on your card. So there we go. That's what I've learned. Okay, let's go ahead and get this show started. And doggone it. There we got that, we got that, we got that, we got that. You know, I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, Daniel says his memory jumped from 10% to 78%, just adding a couple of titles. There you go. If somebody here knows the, well, let me see if I can find it real quick. I want to post the URL for those of you that would like to enter the contest for the church streaming system giveaway. There it is. And this is a little different than some of the giveaways in the past. The idea has been in the past to get lots of different entries and lots of different ways to enter. This one's going to be a lot simpler. We're asking you to enter just as a single church, not a bunch of people in the church to enter. We'll just take one entry from each church and kind of give us some idea of why this is going to be helpful to you or to your church, because we want to, it's still going to be a drawing, but at the same time, we want to give it to somebody that really is going to benefit for it. So where is the chat? There is the chat. Okay, there we go. That is the giveaway. Did it show up in there? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there you go. Hamnon says, put a dime on the turntable, Tom. I keep hearing, let's start the show again and again. I think the record is damaged. I can take a hint with the best of them. Going to start the show. Hold on 1 second. Going to start the show. Going to start the show. Yes, we are. Jim said it jumped to 98% by changing to 22. No graphics, no new graphics introduced at all. My guess is that the existing graphics, Jim, got entered into memory. So there you go. Okay, so let's cut to this shot, and we're going to mute this mic. The other mic. Okay. There we go. Okay, the new set. What do you think of the backdrop? It was really hard to get this green screen to look just like a green screen. No, this is actually a PTZ Optics 30X Gen 2 camera that I upgraded to NDI, and so it's coming in over NDI, and it's 1080p, and we're going to compare it with the Ada UHD 100 using the Magewell Pro Convert HDMI 4K Plus to need to turn off studio mic was all hiss. Mic gain is real hot. What did I do? Hang on a second. I think I know what I did. One second. All right, let's see how that goes. The problem with using a studio for testing is that sometimes I forget to put it back the way it belongs. Okay. Probably got one of those cams with audio enabled. I don't think so. Turn it all off and start again. Well, let's just make sure we don't have an open. I don't think, unless I've accidentally enabled a webcam. Let's see if that did it. Let's see if that did it. Sound has gotten worse. A hiss sound. A hiss. Where could a hiss be coming from? All right, let's check one more thing. Sorry for this. That's what I get for testing too many things at one time. Check, check, check. Okay. Check, 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 check. Oh, the hiss is gone. Thank you, Daniel. There we go. All right. All right. There we go. Remember to turn on the studio mic. Oh my goodness. Video is so much easier than audio. It's not even funny. Not even funny. Not even fair. Okay. All right. Good now. Too much delay. What about here? Yeah, that's going to be the thing because I've got an NDI HX cam and an NDI cam, and I think the delay is set up for the NDI cam. So we'll have to see with that. Yeah, I was a little, well, let's get into the show and we can talk about some of that. Okay. What did I turn off? I turned off the PTZ Optics NDI camera had the audio enabled for some reason. And so when I added that quickly before the pre-show, I neglected to mute it. And so it was just picking up, you know, the noise that comes through the camera itself. I don't know if it's electronic noise. It's not really a ground loop, but it's similar to ground loop. All right. Are we still having fun? Okay. Can we get subtitles? Yeah. Well, actually, I was hoping audio is low and out of sync. It's still out of sync? I tested this earlier. Audio is too delayed. Well, good. That means whatever it was that was a problem earlier is now not a problem. Let's go back. So let's go here. One of the challenges that I've been facing is working from a chair like this and having access to all of the tools, because all I got right there is the multi-view. But what I did is I drug the audio settings window over, and let's cut the gain down. Well, we can't enter a number from here because we don't have a keyboard. Yeah, we can't even do that. We can take it out altogether. Cut. So that's no delay at all. I need to get myself a mic, not Michael. That's right. Good. Audio sync is fine in Arizona. YouTube audio is synced. All right, well, let's see where we are and let you catch up because you may be 15, 20 seconds behind me. Tap the mic. What if I just clap? Michael Graves is here. We can get started. I do need to add another keyboard and a mouse. Doggone it. Then I end up moving the whole control surface over here. And you notice how the color changes. I need to turn off some sort of auto. There may be an auto white balance in the Ada camera. Sync is good in Oklahoma. Okay, thank you, John. Thank you for the email earlier too. All right, well let's try to do a show, shall we? Or we could just chat all day, but let's do a show. Let's get a show in the books and then we'll chat and we'll see. All right, so we're going to do the show thing to start the show, and I'll mute my mic. Welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots. Yes, Streaming Idiots. And if you're with us for the pre-show today, you know, boy, this show is aptly named. Somebody asked me the other day, where did that show name? It came to me in the shower. It was one of the. Do you ever have one of those days where you just feel like whatever decision you make is wrong, and you know you picked the wrong color socks, and it all went downhill from there? Well, if you live stream long enough, and for most of us it's not very long at all, you do something that you realize, boy, that was just stupid. Well, stupid is a mean word, but somehow idiot seems a little less severe. So come with us and join us on our cruise of idiots. We've got a Facebook group called Streaming Idiots. We'd love to have you come join us. You have to give us your email address. You can't get in without that. That's kind of the way of us holding you accountable. And we'd love to have you like our Facebook page, Eastern Shore Broadcasting. Really excited about today's show. We don't have a special guest. We will have a guest next week. I'll give you more info on that. Actually, our special guest today is the Magewell Pro Convert HDMI 4K Plus that we unboxed last week. And last week we did a literal unboxing. I mean, it wasn't one of these unboxings where we open it up in advance and make sure everything works and how to plug it in so we don't look like a idiot. That's right. Instead, I mean, I cut the seal right here on the show, and we opened it up, plugged it in. Didn't work. Well, it didn't work because, say it with me now, because Tom's an idiot. That's right. It didn't work because Tom's an idiot. Because I was using a USB extension cord to plug in the USB that powers the converter. And I don't have the converter here on the desktop because we're using it today. We're going from the Ada ultra high definition UHD 100, which is a 4K camera, HDMI output, and that's going into the Magewell Pro Convert HDMI 4K Plus via HDMI, and then the Pro Convert unit, we'll just shorten it to that, is being powered by PoE. So we've got, let's see, I think we've got a shot. Can show you what we're doing today, and let's get that out of the way. So that's not a live shot. That's just a recorded shot. But you can see the Magewell in the middle with the purple cable coming out of it, the left side of it, the blue banded HDMI cable coming out of the back. And if you look closely at that little black box to the right of the Magewell, that's a PoE injector. And so you can see the purple cable coming out of the right side of it, the orange cable going into the left side, and then there's a power jack. And no, that's not the power jack sitting on top of the PC. That's something else. So I think that's actually a USB cable. And then all that's going into the gigabit switch, the Netgear right behind it. Yeah, the Magewell does have, let's see if I can hit the right picture right off the top of my head. Nope, it's not that one. Maybe it's that one. Let's try this one. How about that one? There you go. It's got a 1/4-20 threaded hole on it, so it can be mounted on at or around a tripod. We're just not using it that way today because I had a long HDMI cable and a short Ethernet cable, and I realized I could have swapped them later. But anyway, the sum total is that we've got a setup that's very simple. It's not fancy. It's two cables. One is HDMI, one is Ethernet. Ethernet is PoE, and in it comes the Magewell Pro Convert HDMI 4K Plus is $1,000. There may be some specials on it at some point coming up around NAB, but the street price right now, and I think it's got MAP pricing, so $999 is the street price. The Ada UHD 100, I think Ken will have to quote me on that because he just bought one from me, but I think it's retailing for like $569 or something like that, and we were able to get Ken a little bit of a deal. So if I can help you with either one of those, we would be happy to. Was also talking with Frank about this, and he was interested in, and let's see, again, I didn't mark my buttons, so apologize. There we go, that's the right one. You see right in the middle where it says PTZ and Tally. Well, there is a special pinout map for this PTZ and Tally. And I was corresponding with Martin Kay in the UK last night, and he said that somebody has I don't know that you would say hacked, but they've kind of hot-wired the Tally using the logout, using the pinout information that you can get as a download from the Magewell website. So that information is freely available. What the pinout mapping is for the PTZ and Tally. It is Visca over Tally. And it's going to be interesting to see what else can be done with that. At this point, it doesn't look like there's an NDI connection directly to the camera because the camera is not NDI. So if you have a PTZ camera that's not NDI, this device will not make it NDI, but you can use the Visca, and if the device is mounted right at the camera, you're talking about just a little short cable to go from this guy right here to the camera to have control. So that's going to be interesting to see. There's also coming down the pike an LED bar, a light bar. Don't know the size of it yet. I'm imagining it's I think it's like 8 by 32 in pixels or something like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. And it'll plug into that, perhaps with a converter of some kind. We'll just have to see on that one. So that's going to be neat. The Tally lights on the side, and let's see if we can get lucky here and get the right Tally light. There we go. The Tally lights on the side are visible, but they don't reach right out and grab your attention like you would like Tally lights to do, especially if you're just kind of not really paying attention and you're trying to find a camera. A little teeny LED is not going to cut it. Working with the kids at the studio, and we've repurposed the LED lights on the front of the PTZ Optics cameras as Tally lights, but they're really not large enough for the kids to sense where they need to be without really focusing on it. And a 12 or 13-year-old, it's a lot to expect. It's a lot to expect from a 63-year-old. So there you go. But that's the Tally light bar is coming down the pike. I'll let you know when it's there. And again, big shout out to the folks at Magewell for, number one, producing this device, but number two, being a sponsor for the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB, which is coming up on, yep, there we go. There it is right there. That we were talking about that earlier. We'll get it to come back, and let's see if it'll come back. Yeah, that is my low-powered video graphics card. I've got a GTX 750, in the production PC, it's got 1 gig of RAM, and it is not enough. It's maxed out at 100%. And let's take a side trip for just a second and talk about vMix 22. vMix 22, as you know, has animated graphics. One of the miracles that Martin Sinclair has done with that is he has said, well, this is a PC. Let's make use of every different piece of the PC. And so he says, oh, we got all this graphics card memory sitting there not doing a whole lot. In vMix 21 and before, it used a little bit of it, but it didn't really use a lot. It used the processing power from the video card, but it didn't necessarily use the RAM from the video card. So he said, well, let's take all of our graphics and store them in RAM on the video card. And that way, the graphics will be really snappy as they move in and out. And so when he did that, for those of you that are thinking about upgrading to version 22, check your graphics card and see how much RAM is in it, because you may move from a really good situation to a not quite as good as you are anticipating situation if you don't have enough RAM in your video card. We'll be doing some more testing on that to try to confirm if that theory is correct, because it's just a theory at this point. Nobody's told me that. It's just based on usage. A few folks, Jim and some others, have reported that when they upgraded to version 22, all of a sudden their GPU memory use shot up, and some of that may be true, and some of it just may be the fact that you just noticed the GPU memory meter down there in the bottom left-hand corner of vMix for the first time and was like, oh, wow, I'm using it. And what that means is that's the percentage of available RAM in the video card that you're using. And I don't believe it has to do with processing power. I believe it is RAM, random access memory. All right, so Magewell is sponsoring the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB, which is April 9th. We would have a great graphic up here somewhere that would come down and tell us that. And that's going to be at the Convention Center in Las Vegas at the National Association of Broadcasters trade show and conference. So we want you to come. That's a Tuesday night. Here's the tricky part of it. You have to get a pass to come to the trade show. That's the number one stipulation. In order to possibly get in, you have got to get one of these passes right here. When you register for NAB, you can use one of these codes. I think the codes kind of expire at different times, so if you get one that is no good, try another one. If you get one that gives you a small discount, try another one. There may be another one that gets you a bigger discount. And if you find out that some of these just don't work at all, if you'd let me know, I would appreciate it. So here are the codes. You can come back on replay and get these if you did not get them now. So the codes are going to get you into the trade show, but you're going to need a special pass to get into the Streaming Idiots meetup after the show closes on Tuesday. Well, you say, where in the world is this show going to be? Well, it's going to be right here. See that big blue dot on the left side of the screen? It's at the PTZ Optics booth, C3326. As you come in Central Hall, this will be over towards the right a little bit. If you find Canon, take a right, and you're in the right spot. But in order to get in the door, you're going to need this special pass. And the special pass will only be given to us on Tuesday morning. So the only time you can pick up the pass is going to be during the day at the trade show on Tuesday. So in order to make it easier for you to get a pass, we're going to put passes at the PTZ Optics booth, passes at the Magewell booth, passes at the XK's booth. These are the sponsors for the meetup. And I'll have passes with me at the vMix booth. So between those 4 booths, you should be able to at least visit one of them during the course of the day on Tuesday and pick up a pass for the Tuesday night Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB. It's going to be a ton of fun. The folks at Magewell, they have stepped up to the plate big time, and they are giving away a Magewell Pro Convert HDMI Plus, not the 4K version, the HDMI Plus, which is the 1080p version. Still, it's a $500 value. Holy cow. And it's identical in appearance to this one. I think it works in the same way. It just doesn't do 4K. But it will turn your high definition camera that has HDMI output into an NDI camera. It will be stunning, and somebody's going to go home very, very happy having won a brand new Magewell Pro Convert HDMI Plus that they can take home with them for free. Yeah, that's going to be a deal. PTZ Optics is going to have something stellar to give away, I'm sure. Don't know what it is yet. X-Keys will have something. I'm hoping vMix will have something. And yeah, and that's it. So that's the deal. Going back to this camera for a second, it was not the camera, the Magewell Pro Convert HDMI 4K Plus. Boy, that's just rolling right off my lips now that I've got it going. It was so easy to set up last week, even though I did it wrong the first time. So I came in this week and I thought, okay, well, let's see if I can't get it right the first time. And it was plug and play. It was, pop in the PoE cable, power over Ethernet, pop in the HDMI cable from the camera, turn on the camera, and go into vMix, and pow, there's an NDI input that is this camera. I mean, it's the converter. It doesn't say the camera, it says the converter. But it could not have been easier. I was checking the specs on it earlier, and this camera taking this shot, and again, remember, this is a green screen shot. So this is not, it's more attuned to this shot right here, except with just the trimmed out portion of it, than it is to this shot right here. But that shot is coming in at about 95 to 105 megabits per second. So obviously you've got to have a gigabit network in order to use one of these, and to do anything else at the same time. But it sure does make life easy. It sure does make life easy. I've talked to several people already that are talking about, putting these in locations that are hard to get cabling to, but easy to get Cat6 to. So there you go. There's power, there's video, and then there's actually the ability to do some rudimentary controls on the camera at that point. So there we go. There we go. That's not the deep dive that I promised you, because we got waylaid this morning by problems trying to get all this stuff squared away and ready to go. So my apologies. It's not as deep as we got. There were graphics. We've got some photos here that I did take. That's showing the 5-volt USB input and the Ethernet PoE input, and then we've got the quarter 20 in the side. The HDMI in and out, and the PTZ and the tally. And again, you can get the mapping, the pinouts on the PTZ and tally jack at the magewell.com website. For this device, you go to the Documents tab. Then our tally lights and the control dial. And then right there on the top of the unit, I thought I would make mention of this. It's not a big deal, but I like the fact that the serial number is built into all the other identifying marks there. It's not a label that's going to peel off or get damaged, and then you won't know what your serial number is. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. I did also want to, I've got this one live, and I should have taken pictures of them side by side, but this is a Bird Dog Mini, square in relative speaking. And this is the approximate size of the Magewell. Similar in size, similar in weight. Obviously, this is a cell phone, so you can't compare it, because the Magewell is about twice as thick as this. And they're two different tools for two different purposes. I was corresponding with Martin Kay last night, and Martin's been working a lot with Magewell on the design of these and the implementation of that design. And I asked him, is the Magewell going to have be a encoder and decoder in one box like the Bird Dog is? And he said that is not on the roadmap at this point. It might be on down the road, on down the line, but what's on the roadmap now is, now that they've got the encoder box, is to have a decoder box. And I thought about that, and I thought, that's right. There are situations where you need to put a device in a permanent installation And so there's no sense in it having 34 features if you just need 2. So if you need an encoder, you've got an encoder. If you need a decoder, you've got a decoder. Now, everybody wants to have in their toolbox something that'll do both for the times when you need to do both. So would commend you the Bird Dog for that reason when you need the flexibility to encode 1 minute and decode the next minute. And I believe the comms are part of the package for the Bird Dog. We've actually had 2 of these come back off of long-term rental. We've got them in our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. If you're interested, we can make you a deal on those. I think there's probably some restriction that we're not allowed to announce the price on the air, but go take a look. So there's that. What else? Oh, yeah. Today, when I arrived, and I think this is the right picture. Nope, that's not the right picture. But that is a good idea of what the Magewell looks like in reference to the vMix mouse pad. Yeah, maybe I put that picture towards the end. Let's see. Nope, maybe I didn't put the picture in there at all. Well, doggone it, that's embarrassing. But it takes a lot to really embarrass me. I took a picture this morning of the stack of boxes that showed up. Well, can I show those boxes? Well, maybe I can. And you'll be able to see part of them over there in that stack right there. That stack of boxes is all of the gear that I need to build a PC for the church streaming giveaway that's coming up April 21st, I think. April 21st? No. That's Easter Day. March 21st. So a month before Easter, PTZ Optics and X Keys and Magewell and vMix and I are giving away a complete package. PTZ Optics is supplying the camera or cameras. X Keys is supplying X Keys, and I'll know which ones as we get a little closer to the time. Magewell has got a, oh, you know what? I didn't. Anyway, Magewell has got a capture card going in there. And what was the other thing that was going? Oh, yeah, vMix. Yeah, vMix is in there too. So the whole thing will be going in. We did post a link to the giveaway sign up in the YouTube chat. We'll also put it in the notes for YouTube and the Facebook feed so that you can enter. It's going to be a little different than the last one. The idea this time is you don't have to enter 43 times to increase your chance of winning. But we'd like to we'd like folks that really need something like this to enter the contest. So if you've already got a pretty good setup and you're thinking, oh, I'd like to have a new camera or tweak our setup, this is probably not the giveaway for you. This is for somebody that's scraping along with a 6-year-old laptop and a Canon HFR 200. And needs to improve their setup and would really like to do it. And Easter we thought would be a great time to do it. So we'll post the giveaways in the notes below so that you can have that and enter. The giveaway will be announced on March. There we go, got it right. On March 21st, which is a month before Easter, so that you'll have a chance to get it and start using it and be able to live stream your Easter Sunday services. Gonna be a ton of fun. And starting next week, we'll be building that here, and we'll be taking pictures and making a recording of the build so that you can see how we do it. So if you want to build your own, you can do that. Now, of course, we build PCs too, and if you don't feel comfortable building your own or providing your own warranty, or what do you do when something goes wrong, we would be happy to talk with you about building one from you. And that is kind of our infomercial for today, that we represent Ada and Magewell and vMix and PTZ Optics and X Keys and Bird Dog, and then our own live streaming gear brand of live streaming PCs, and would be delighted to assist you in any way that we can. Let's see, what have we forgotten? So John is asking, did the courier just leave all those boxes on your front doorstep? Well, let's see. Side doorstep. Side doorstep. I mean, they rang the doorbell, so we knew they were there, but it was okay. And they, and that I have this stuff shipped to my house because there's somebody always there. There's not always somebody here at that door at the studio, so we didn't have that shipped here. Even though I staged that photograph, I must admit, I got to confess, I did stage that photograph and said, "Look what's at my doorstep today." But you know, what can I say? What can I say? I think that's our show for today. Stick around after the show for the Streaming Idiots post show, which is probably not better than the show. But we will take your questions in chat. And we invite you to come back. Next week, coming up next week, on Wednesday of next week, RJ Murdoch. You remember RJ, our friend over in Florida. I hope my schedule will allow me to actually travel over to his studio, and we'll do the Streaming Idiot show from his studio over there. He's got some great gear and some exciting things going on. So it's always fun to visit a friend. And we will, Dan Slider said, "Tom, did you pitch the church giveaway?" Well, I don't know. Ask that question in the chat. I think I pitched the church giveaway. Yeah, Dan, since you're here, tell us which have you figured out which X keys you're going to be using in the church giveaway? Because PTZ Optics X keys is going to do it. Let's see, can we do this today? Will it work? There we go. We got vMix Social working there. So Dan is saying, it was good. But Dan, what's the answer to the question? What X keys or multiples of X keys are we doing? It would be nice to know. Let's see, what did we use? Did we use that one? Yeah, there we go. Dan says, ta-da, that it's the XK80. Hey, that's the very same one I use. The XK80. I love it. Now, I will say that the kids at the school love the XK, the one with the T-bar, the 124 with the T-bar, but that's a different story. Anyway, we got off subject. So let's go to the post show, and if you have any questions, we'll address those then. Don't forget, April 9th, Streaming Idiots Meetup at NAB. And it's going to be, where is it going to be? It's going to be at the PTZ Optics booth, C3326 in Central Hall. And you will need a special pass to get into Central Hall after hours. You'll need your regular pass, and you can get your regular pass right here. There it is. And you can run that back and get that. And you'll need a special pass, and you can get the special pass at the vMix booth, the PTZ Optics booth, the Magewell booth, and the X Keys booth. So that's 4. There you go. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, folks, hang around for the post show. If you can't hang out for the post show, we'll see you next week. Love being with you. Take care. Okay, we are in the post show, and let's see, what do we got here? Marie says that I don't have to worry about my doorstep since this is for a church and God is watching. So we will see. And there's an interesting part of the chat that seems to go on week to week that has something about goats, and there just seem to be goats that appear in chat all the time. And Tommy has some goats, and Marie has some goats, and Jim thinks that we have fake news. But I can assure you that we do not have fake news on Streaming Idiots. So let's see. Let's take some questions here. Dan says he's sorry he missed the show. He had a dental appointment. But Video Pepper says, if I want to upgrade to vMix 22, do you need my license ID? Well, yes, I do. Think about it for a second. Let's think this one through together. You send me money, and we, of the 21 million vMix licenses that are out there in the world, I have to pick just one to upgrade. And so the odds of me getting the right one are pretty slim. So yes, we do need you. I'm teasing you, but we do need your license key. If you have if you purchased your original license from us, then we'll have that on file. But if you have more than one license, or you've upgraded your license and you're not sure where you got your license, then when you get your confirmation of your order, you can just reply back to that and send us your license key. And that way you'll know that I know, and we'll make sure that we get you the right thing. Now, Jim says that it's a posed picture that's fake news. Well, you could say that, or you could say that it's a posed picture that reveals a better idea of what's going on than what the real picture would look like, which would be a picture of my doorstep with a couple boxes on it from yesterday and a couple more boxes today. It's a little more exciting if there's a big stack of boxes over there, like, let's see, number 6. There we go, like that one. That's a lot of gear right there, and I can't wait to put it together. It's really going to be a lot of fun, and some church is going to get a really, really neat system. I can't wait. Looks like Rich has got an idea of what the goat chat is, that apparently I am a goat. Well, there's some days that I probably smell like one, but that's not that. And Rich is coming to my defense that Streaming Idiots News is most definitely anything but fake. Well, Jim was just poking fun at me. So there we go. And Marie gives the explanation of why this is good. And if you're like, okay, well, Tom, I didn't get in on the joke with the goats. Well, the idea is, if you're just joining us for the first time, is that, you know, it's really kind of become a community of misfits. If you ever saw that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer animated Christmas special, part of it is where they visit the island of misfit toys. Well, you know, in some ways we're kind of misfits. We're idiots. We're folks that don't always get it right the first time or the second time or sometimes even the third time. And as a result, there's a humility that comes as a result of knowing that you're not perfect, and especially that you're not perfect every time. And that humility makes it really easy to be in a community of other folks that kind of share the same attitude. And so, you know, I commend Marie and Jan for starting the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook, which has been hugely successful. And it's been a great place to gather. And as a result, we have people from all over the world that probably have never, ever watched the Streaming Idiots show once. They should. Why would they not watch the show? But anyway, I digress. So that's the idea. Yeah, Dan, the island of misfit live streamers. Yep. And the island is going to be at the PTC Optics booth at NAB, where all of them can come together in person. And you know, there's nothing like meeting somebody that you feel like you know, because you've chatted with them maybe by phone or Skype or something like that. You've exchanged emails or texts or bannered back and forth in the Streaming Idiots chat room. Come meet some of these folks. And if you're not able to, I should have mentioned this, if you're not able to be there, we are going to live stream it. Now, we're not going to live stream it just sort of willy-nilly. It's going to be a series of interviews. Dave and Kenny have agreed to do that, and we're working on a list of interviewees right now, and then we'll live stream the giveaway. You have to be physically present in the room for the giveaway. So you'll drop your name into the hat, and then we'll be pulling names out for the giveaway. So you got to be there. But for the church streaming PC giveaway, which is on March 21st, got it right the first time. That you don't have to be physically present, but you have to be present in chat. They will keep guessing a name. They will keep guessing a name until they get somebody that's physically present. So Jan and Marie will have to watch from far, far away. So that's the story with that. What else did we want to talk about a little bit? Did you guys have any questions? Some of the folks that'll be interviewed at the Streaming Idiots meetup will probably be Tim from vMix, Dan from X-Keys, and maybe Miranda and Maggie, Paul and Tess from PTZ Optics, Daryl and Mary from Magewell. I think we just have to wait and see. It depends on who we can get there. But these are the folks that have sponsored the show, so it's only right that we give them an opportunity to tell everybody a little bit about what's going on. And they, they may talk about their products, or they may talk about me. It's okay either way. Hint, hint. But Ken and Kenny and Dave did such a great job last year that we'll task them again with that this year. And if you are free during the day on Tuesday, or would like to help out with some of the duties that go on to putting on the meetup, we are looking for a few volunteers. So if you've got some time during the day Tuesday, or can help us out during a portion of the show, not the whole show, during a portion of the meetup, not the whole meetup on Tuesday night, we'd love to have you come help. Not complicated stuff. Basically, just if we have a list of 6 guests that we want to get on the live stream, somebody's got to go out and find them, and make sure they get in there, and make sure they have their hair nice and their makeup on, that kind of thing. Really kind of excited about the PTZ Optics booth, because last year they had a streaming set that included a couch and a couple of chairs, and that was okay. That was pretty cool. But this year they're going to change that and do a sort of a bar kind of thing with some bar stools, and we'll see. So we'll see. That should be a lot of fun. So if you can't wait until Streaming Idiots Meetup at NAB on April 9th, you can see Tim from vMix this week. That's right. Friday morning, he is going to be on the X-Keys 5-minute show. Probably not in studio. He was in studio a while back. In fact, he and Dan were on the Streaming Idiots show from the X-Keys studio. So if you don't have anything to do, or you might even make it a priority to, Dan, can you post a link to that show in the chat? The idea is that you can pop in on Friday morning to the X-Keys 5-minute show and find out what's going on in 5 minutes or less, but probably more. So there you go. Tim and Dan and Miranda, Friday morning on the X-Keys show. It is 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 2 a.m. in Australia. Wow. Tim is the man. That's great. That's great. Marie says they can't come to NAB. They have a streaming gig. Well, there you go. Marie said, you mentioned the street price of the Magewell. Well, the street price is the listed price of $9.95. What is the price in a dark back alley? Well, you'll have to send me an email from that one, and we could probably ship it to you. I don't know what the duty and taxes would be from the U.S. to Sweden, but it might be worth it. The exchange rate from what I understand, is very favorable now with to buy things in U.S. dollars. So if you are overseas and want to buy, your vMix, for example, which is easy, we just send you a key by email. You can get a pretty good rate on that. Let's see. John says that the X-Key show will be at 6 a.m. GMT. So there you go. And that Tim is definitely the man for doing. Well, I guess I could just, I've got the technology. Wow. There we go. That's what I wanted. I've got the ability to do that. So there you go. And apparently it is 4 p.m. GMT. So there we go on that one. So we got it all straight. Now we're all straight on the timing. Times are tough. Times are difficult. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. So if you want to catch Tim in the middle of the night, you ought to see Tim at the day before NAB starts. He and Martin and Kimberly, when Kimberly came, would come in from Australia, and it's a 30-hour brutal flight to get here from there, and then to set up everything that they have to set up. They have to get the PCs out of storage, and of course probably spend a day and a half just updating Windows, and then meanwhile they're 12 hours off on their time. Well, really 9 hours. I think they're 15 hours ahead of me, so that would make them 16 hours ahead of the East Coast and 13 hours ahead of the West Coast. So, but still, they're a 13-hour time difference, or 11 hours, depending on how you look at it. And they're just like, they're not happy. And about the second or third day to NAB, they're beginning to adjust, and they're right. Jan, let's see. Oh, goodness gracious. Here's the idea on, whoops, that's not the one I wanted. There we go. That's the one I wanted. Now that the U.S. rate is going down, it makes some things cheaper, but we still have to do the math. And then there's the math there, which is price and shipping, plus 12% toll, plus 25% value-added tax. So that's 37%, but really it's more than 37% because the 12% has already been figured in when you figure out the 25%. And there's any wonder people don't like living in the U.S., where you're only taxed 50%. But we won't become a political show and get into taxes, at least not on purpose. So let's see. The Byron Lindsay is saying, well, I could just say what he's saying and show you. How are you doing this social lower third? Well, Byron, thank you for asking. vMix has a free auxiliary software routine, an app called vMix Social that comes free with vMix. That was the Yon Cam. And it runs parallel to vMix, and it goes out to Facebook and Twitch and YouTube and IRC chat, and there may be a fifth one. Used to be Instagram, but not anymore. And will allow you to connect with those via your login, and vMix Social will bring in the comments or whatever they might be, depending on what it is. Twitter's the fifth one. So it might bring in tweets that have a certain hashtag, for example. So we are doing that, and basically I've told vMix Social to look at this particular YouTube broadcast and any of the comments to make those available to me, And so I've got those here, and this is just a URL that goes to the vMix web device and allows me to download all the comments in there. So anyway, it's a little difficult to operate as a one-man gig, but for a multi-person operation to be able to have your lower thirds kind of populated for you automatically, you know, although you don't always understand what they say, you can get them. So Marie says that they have free healthcare and education, paid maternity leave, and paternity leave. It's not free. You're paying for it every day. And we are getting into politics. John said we have free social care for the elderly in Scotland. Well, there you go. And we in the U.S. have an interesting policy, but perhaps that's a subject for another show. We could do an international roundtable on taxes and benefits of paying more or less tax. I happen to like being more in control and choosing my doctor and choosing to pay him more if I want to. Got some pretty good doctors. Anyway, we're not going to go there. Not going to go there. What else? What else? What do you guys want? What do you got? Byron, did I answer your question? Byron, have you tried this? Is anybody doing vMix Social out there? You know, it's really funny when vMix Social first came out. I was looking for Byron's comment again. There we go. When vMix Social first came out, I don't think it was that well received by the whole community. It was I won't say it was a thud, but I don't think social media, I mean, I think Martin and Tim can see the future. That's what I think. I think they can see the future, and they knew that social media was going to be huge and that they could position vMix to be right in the middle of it. And now people all over the place are using social media just like this. Are they using vMix? Well, we don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, because it doesn't say vMix anywhere on there. It says whatever I want it to say. If Byron had an avatar in his YouTube profile, it would have him there. It indicates right here that we're using YouTube, and that's all coming from outside. This text over here, the Streaming Idiot Show, I put in. Byron's name and his comment right there, again, came from YouTube. So we've got four data elements that came from YouTube. Dan says, Tom, you know what? I don't have to read it for you anymore. I can just put it right there. And there we go. Try it one more time. There we go. Dan, I had the same problem. My vMix Social was not connecting to my Facebook page. Now, it won't connect to a Facebook group, and it won't connect to a personal profile page, but it will connect to a page. But for some reason, mine won't connect, and I'll be getting a hold of vMix later today on that, so that I can figure out, you know, what I was doing wrong. I mean, I logged in multiple times, went through the authentication. I did the code generator, let's put it that way, with Facebook, and supposedly everything was fine. And then when I hit the go out and find post button, it bombed. So something is amiss. And from time to time, you know, I give vMix kudos for being brave and going out there, and they're really at Facebook's mercy as to whether something is going to work or not. I remember last summer, was it only last summer? Yeah, it was last June. In Atlanta, we were having that StreamCon meetup, and Martin and Tim were there. And one day, Facebook just decided that you couldn't stream to Facebook using their API if you were streaming somewhere else at the same time. And so that broke vMix, because vMix was depending on that feature in the Facebook API. And so Martin disappeared from the conference for about half a day and went back and rewrote vMix so that it would work with Facebook. I mean, within like 6 hours, he had it fixed. It was really amazing. I know there's been some discussion in the vMix forums lately about this, and I think they thought they had it fixed, but Dan, I've experienced the same thing. And you know, I think you can hook it to any page. It doesn't have to be a page that you're actively streaming on. So you do have some flexibility there, but I don't think you can do multiple pages. And Otis is here. Welcome, Otis. Yeah, there was the Cambridge analysis group that apparently mined some Facebook data and personal information, and Facebook had to, you know, shut down a lot of things, and so that's something I know vMix is working on getting fixed. I'm trying to read the chat here. Yeah, no comments for private groups, says Dan. And Gunner's got a good comment here, is that you must be an administrator of a group. You can't just be and I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It won't work for a group. It only will work for a page, and you must be an administrator of that page. So if you have a group like the Streaming Idiots group, for example, we can't harvest the comments from the Streaming Idiots group, from any post in that group, to come into vMix, to vMix Social. So there you go. That is the truth. That is the truth. And John corrects, it is Cambridge Analytics, not Cambridge Analysis, but the point well taken either way. John Duvall is using this, and he's modified the graphics settings to allow for the longer comments. That's good. And actually, you can do, I think the comments on this particular format, this is not one of the animated graphics. This is just a static graphic in vMix, but it's under the social tab when you go into the graphics, the titles. And you can modify this by just going into right-clicking on the title and changing the font or changing the size of the font, that kind of thing. But you can also go into the guts of this title using the title designer and change things, and actually move fields around if you like. Yep. So there you go. Let's see. Frank's got a good question. If we can get it up on the screen. There we go. What do we think about LinkedIn allowing live streaming? LinkedIn and live streaming. Well, as you recall, when Facebook announced Facebook Live back in 2015, perhaps, and I did a prediction show in 2016, and I predicted that Facebook live streaming was going to be a horrible failure and that they would walk off the scene with their tail between their legs. So you don't want to know my opinion on this. What do you guys think? I think it has the potential to do really, really well for those people that are in LinkedIn and have a strong LinkedIn community. And in the same way, they may be in some groups in LinkedIn, like we have the Streaming Idiots group on Facebook. And it's a little more business oriented, a little less open to the general population. But I think in its way, it's going to be very, very popular. I doubt if it will be as popular as Facebook Live or as YouTube. But I think within its niche, it's going to do that. Let's see. Dan has a new show coming up. Let's see if we can get some more information about Dan's new show. He says I fear if we tried to show viewing parties for our show, it would be just one lonely guy sitting on a couch in Bora Bora. No, I think he actually said in his underwear. So there you go. So much for Dan's comments. Next show topic, social. Well, it could be. It could be. One of the things that I would like to be able to do is I would like to be able to operate vMix multi-view as if it were another window in control in vMix, so that I can, well, I guess I could. No, because multi-view takes up the whole monitor. You can't have multi-view as part of a monitor or run it onto two monitors the way it's configured right now. But you can drag a window over on top of a multi-view. Excuse me. Late night last night. And then whatever the format is that you want to do, I mean, I've got a mouse here that is one of two mice hooked into the same system. I can operate things, and obviously if I had a second keyboard here, I could operate things and have a kind of a remote studio, which I was trying to get away from to begin with, but that's okay. And then you can make all those changes. Yeah. Can vMix broadcast to Twitter? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. We used to broadcast to Twitter at first just to see about it. Obviously, it takes about this much of the feed and ignores the outside portions because it's got the portrait orientation. And I think for people that have a big Twitter following, it probably would be significant. That's Byron Lindsay prompting me with these questions. Yeah. Simple Guy says, try using 3 monitors. Actually, I am using 3 monitors. The third monitor is in front of me as a large screen TV, so that I can have the multi-view up in front of me. And I've chosen the traditional side. And so, in the top left corner, it's got preview, top right corner, it's got program, and then down across the bottom, it's got inputs 1 through 8, and I can see them, but I can't operate with them. So I'd like to be able to operate with them a little bit more easily. But if that's the case, I could just put my vMix desktop up there on the big monitor for that matter. But then I feel like I would be more wedded to my mouse. Although the X keys really does make it nice just to have buttons pre-programmed like that. Oh, excuse me. Goodness gracious, that's rude. All right, let's see. And I could try 4 monitors. And there's Jan's opinion about the LinkedIn Live. And there's an interesting thought. NDI Studio Monitor can have a multi-view with a multi-view window in it. And I guess vMix would too. Yep. In fact, I was working on something similar to that the other day in the school studio for the kids. We've got I think it's maybe a 20-inch monitor as the main vMix monitor, and then we have two big 55-inchers on the wall in front of them, and 4 or 5 kids in the room. And the right side monitor on the wall is the multi-view that I'm looking at there. But we needed to put isolated cameras on the other monitor so that the camera operator, because they've got the PTZ Optics IP controller, the 3rd gen one is really sweet. If you're interested in that, I like them and would love to fix you up with one. Anyway, we were working on that, and the kids needed something, but there wasn't a multi-view that would work on that. So we simply just said, okay, well, we'll make a vMix. Started with a blank input, went to the input multi-view. Now, not the big multi-view. There's two things that have the same name, so it's a little confusing. But within a vMix input, you can layer 10 different other inputs in what's called a multi-view. And so we took camera number 1 and put it over here, and camera number 2 and put it over here, and that became a single input with both cameras in it. And we put that over on the second monitor so that the camera operators could see what was going on with their cameras. Right there, because they were actually controlling the cameras and then using the preset function on the controller to be able to do that. And it worked really, really well. The simple guy, who I believe is Anderson, says, I use Panel Builder for such, and that works great. I'm used to the traditional style systems, so it's just a software version for me, and I guess I could have put that up here so that everybody could have seen it. There you go. Jan and Byron are giving me trouble today. It's like, please explain the upgrade process. Send you an email with a key, receive link to payment, question mark, question mark. Well, let's distinguish, first of all, between an upgrade and an update. The upgrade is moving up the ladder from package to package. So I might move up from vMix HD to vMix 4K, move up from basic HD to HD. So as I move up, I pay the difference in price. So if you've got the basic HD, the $60 package, you want the vMix HD package, the $350 package, you're already $60 heading that direction. And so you can upgrade for an extra $290, and when you do, you get a free update, and that is over here your version number. So you would go from version number 19 or 20 or 21 to version 22. An update, no matter what package you have, is $60 a year. And that's always been the case with vMix. They've just never enforced it, and they've just decided, hey, we're a company. We need money. We need to enforce this stuff. Plus, they keep rolling out such great new updates. It's worthwhile paying $60 a year to get the latest, greatest vMix. I remember the VidBlaster days, you were paying at least 50% of the original cost to update whenever a new numbered version came out. When it went from VidBlaster 3 to 4, you had to pay 50% of the retail price to update to the latest, greatest. I know with Wirecast, I don't think it's 50%, but it's depending on which level of Wirecast you have, it could be a couple $100. But if you're interested in updating from one vMix numbered version to another, that's $60 regardless here, and those are in our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Or if you want to upgrade your package, I guess both of them have the word up in it though, don't they? If you want to upgrade your package from one package to the next higher package, those are available in our website too. And for all of that, yes, we would need your license key in order to know which one to do it, because it all happens in a server off somewhere in outer Australia, in the outback. All right, let's see what else we got here. Interesting. Oliver, appreciate your comment. Let's throw it up there for everybody to see. He says, on Facebook and YouTube, there are a lot of streamed contents, but in my opinion, at least 50% have no value or interest at all. And, you know, I would agree with that. If somebody's going to show what's going on in their local downtown community, I really don't care. If they're live streaming their son's rec league soccer match, don't care. If they're streaming what's going on in the beach, don't care. So I would bet less than 50% have interest to any single person. In fact, I bet for me, I'm interested in 20% or less of what generally comes across my newsfeed. But that doesn't mean that somebody isn't interested in it. I'm not saying the content doesn't have value to somebody. It just doesn't have value to me. That's the difference. And that's where I think the Facebook groups concept comes in, is that you form a group of people who share a common interest, and then you live stream to that group. That's the model that we're working with. And let's see what we got there. Anderson remembers the good old days. The show called That VidBlaster Guy. That was me. I was that VidBlaster guy. Never should have named the show that. You know, in retrospect, all I did was tick off the the developer, because he was that VidBlaster guy. I wasn't. But for a while, I became the de facto face of VidBlaster, such as it were. While we're talking about upgrade costs, John said he just paid £285 to do the upgrade to Wirecast Pro. And that was from Wirecast Studio. I believe Studio is the lower version and Pro is the higher version. Is that the way it works? And Rich is always my hero, which is why I named him the 2018 Live Streamer of the Year. But he loves to watch live streams of people live streaming. Okay, and Oliver says that he agrees with me. Well, but of course. But in his previous comment, it's in relationship with LinkedIn way of work, where essentially LinkedIn, you have things that you're interested in, and that's the way that you pitch it, I think. I mean, if I were to put this video for this show on my personal Facebook page, there are those of you that have friended me on Facebook, and you can do that if you want to, because you watch this show, not you haven't friended me and then watched the show and become interested in it. Because for the most part, I don't do a whole lot on my personal page with the show. It's all at the Eastern Shore Broadcasting Facebook page and the Streaming Idiots Facebook group is kind of how we have it organized. Okay. Let's see, what do we got here? So John says the Wirecast Studio that he won on a PTC Optics show, he was upgrading from one version number to the newest version number, and it cost him, what did he say, $295. Let's go back, because I don't want to get it wrong. the upgrade from Studio to Pro is $295, including a year of support. And then, if you want to upgrade to the newest version number, it will cost you probably about the same on Pro. Now, frequently Wirecast will do all sorts of killer specials, like you can upgrade for 50% off or something like that. But I think they're struggling. Let's see what Anderson has to say here. The simple guy. Tom, have you ever tried the panel builder? If you haven't, give it a try. I use it, have a few presets in it, so good. What the simple guy is referring to is I guess you would call it sort of a plug-in that runs parallel to vMix and uses the vMix API to do a lot of things that vMix either doesn't do or doesn't do simply. And so you can build different routines that are just essentially shortcuts and have it present the data and the vMix assets, the inputs to you in a different format. Anderson, I used Panel Builder about a year, or I played with it about a year ago, trying to solve a problem and couldn't ever get it to fix, and so that's just kind of where I left it. Let's see, where are we? Wirecast now operates same yearly fees scheme as vMix. I think it's $90 a year to get access to all the updates. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to see that vMix is having an impact there. Jonia says, I think I missed everything. Is this the post show? Yes, it is the post show, but with the show graphics, because I'm staying over here in the studio portion for right now. And Anderson clarifies to say that the panel builder is a switcher. Let's see. Oliver says, by the way, I have another idea of a topic to be covered in the next show. What about a status of possible solutions for NDI long distance productions, e.g. NDI cloud? Yeah, that's a good one. Probably won't do it next week, but we can put that on the list. There's some good products out there, not many, but one that I can think of off the top of my head, maybe two, that would allow you to do that. John Thompson is going to correct himself on his Wirecast information. So if you're a Wirecast person, the annual updates are $99 a year, or $300 if you want support. Oh, okay. Well, and that would probably be premium support, where you get a telephone number for them and all that kind of thing. And I would mention that, with Eastern Shore Broadcasting, we are, at easternshorebroadcasting.com, we are a vMix reseller. And as a result, anybody that buys vMix from us, in addition to getting all the typical support you get from vMix, you get personal support from us, i.e. phone number, text message, Facebook message. What was it? We were messaging at 1 o'clock this morning with somebody who had some questions. And that's just, because I enjoy it, and I want to see people be successful with it. And I want to reward anybody that buys vMix from me with, really stellar service. So, and it's the same price as coming from vMix. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, guys, I have to get back to some projects. I've got a computer over here that's not going to build itself. And I've got two more over there that are not going to build themselves. So we need to get moving. But I appreciate you tuning in today. And Cliff says true story. So he must be thinking I was talking about him. No, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about somebody else. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in today. And it's always a treat. Sorry we were so disorganized today. We'll do better next week. Well, probably not, because we'll be in RJ's studio, and trying to do a remote, to do a show from a remote studio with all the same assets that we use here is going to be tough. So we'll see. We'll see. We may just do it with RJ's assets. So you need to read Amnon's comment. Okay, so we're going to close out. We'll let the stream run on for a little bit so that it won't cut you off immediately. If I can help you in any way, you can contact me at easternshorebroadcasting.com. If you're working on a project and you think live streaming is a part of it and you want to get just an outside opinion, give me a call. It's not going to cost you anything to talk to me. I'd be happy to chat with you about it. So have a great day. Daniel says the check is in the mail soon. All right. Well, thank you, Daniel. And we will catch you guys next week. So be good.